In a moment that left both the ruling and opposition benches in disbelief, Democratic Alliance, DA, Federal Chairperson Helen Zille stunned Parliament this week with a bold political move that shifted the balance of South Africa's power dynamics. In an unexpected turn of events, Zille announced that she had taken the unprecedented step of intervening to lift the political sanctions previously imposed by President Cyril Ramaphosa on both the DA and the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF. Her declaration sparked heated debate, spontaneous applause, and visible confusion across the floor, marking one of the most dramatic days in South Africa's recent political history. The political sanctions, as they were widely known, had restricted both parties' access to certain government consultations, public forums, and national advisory committees, effectively sidelining them from key policy discussions. Ramaphosa had justified the sanctions as necessary for national stability, accusing opposition leaders of deliberately obstructing governance and spreading misinformation during the previous parliamentary sessions. The move, however, was widely criticized as undemocratic and authoritarian. Zille's announcement came during what was expected to be a routine debate on parliamentary ethics and party accountability. Yet, with characteristic poise and precision, she turned the session on its head. South Africa cannot afford selective democracy, Zille declared firmly, her voice echoing through the chamber. If we are to rebuild trust in our institutions, we must ensure that all political voices, whether we agree with them or not, are allowed to participate fully in the governance of this country. Her words ignited a storm of reactions. DA members erupted in applause, while EFF members, initially skeptical, stood up in solidarity. The ANC benches, however, were visibly divided. Some MPs looked stunned, others angry, and a few, surprisingly, nodded in quiet agreement. Even Ramaphosa himself appeared taken aback, shifting uncomfortably in his seat as murmurs filled the chamber. Political analysts say Zille's move was both strategic and symbolic. By positioning herself as a defender of democratic participation, she has not only strengthened her party's moral standing but also reached across ideological lines, something rarely seen in South African politics. Her decision to include the EFF, a party whose policies are ideologically opposed to the DA's, sent a message that transcended party rivalry. It was a statement about principles over politics, unity over division. Sources close to the DA leadership revealed that Zille had engaged in behind-the-scenes consultations with several political figures and civil society organizations before making her move. Her decision reportedly came after months of tension within Parliament, where smaller opposition parties had complained of being systematically marginalized under Ramaphosa's leadership. In her closing remarks, Zille delivered a line that may very well go down in South African political history: democracy cannot exist only when it favors those in power. True democracy thrives when even the loudest critics are allowed a seat at the table. The chamber fell silent for several seconds before applause broke out across multiple parties, a rare display of cross-party agreement. Reactions outside Parliament have been equally explosive. Social media platforms lit up with debates, memes, and praise for Zille's boldness. Hashtags like #ZilleLiftsSanctions and #DemocracyRestored trended across South Africa. Prominent activists and political commentators hailed her as a guardian of democracy, while ANC loyalists accused her of political grandstanding and undermining the authority of the president. For Ramaphosa, this development adds new pressure at a time when his administration is already battling criticism over economic stagnation, internal ANC divisions, and questions about transparency. Analysts suggest that Zille's intervention may force the president to reconsider his approach toward opposition engagement or risk further alienating voters ahead of the next general election. As Parliament adjourned, one thing became clear: South Africa had witnessed a historic political moment. Helen Zille's audacious act not only reshaped the immediate political landscape but also rekindled a national conversation about the meaning of democracy, accountability, and inclusion. Whether seen as a power play or a principled stand, her move has ensured that the name Helen Zille once again will be etched in the annals of South Africa's political history as a force impossible to ignore.